This is everything you need to know for Algebra 2, Part 9. So we're talking about piecewise defined functions, and piecewise functions are just functions or equations that are divided up based on their x value, okay? So I'm going to show you what that looks like. So graph f of x equals x minus 2 if x is less than negative 1, and x plus 3 if x is greater than or equal to negative 1. Okay, so depending on the x value, we use a different function. Okay, so let's start with the top function. So we use it if x is less than negative 1. So let's just plug in a few x values so that we can get some points on our graph, and then we're going to go from there. So we're going to use x minus 2. So let's go ahead and plug in negative 1 so that we know what that value is. So for x minus 2, if we plug in negative 1, it would be negative 1 minus 2, and that would be equal to negative 3. Okay, so in other words, whenever x is negative 1, y would be negative 3, and so we're going to have a point at negative 1 and then negative 3 as our y value, so down 1, 2, 3. Now, because it's less than negative 1, it's not less than or equal to, we're going to have an open circle right there. Okay, so that's very important. So let's go ahead and get at least one more value. So let's plug in, we only use this if it's less than negative 1. So let's use negative 2 now. So negative 2 minus 2 is equal to negative 4. Okay, so that means that we have a point at negative 2, 1, 2, and then down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And so now we can see what our line is starting to look like. So starting here, we have a line going back this way, going down, okay, and it stops once we get here at an open circle because it is not equal to negative 1. We just use that function when it's less than negative 1, okay? Now, let's go to our second one. So we use x plus 3 if x is greater than or equal to negative 1. So once again, let's start right at negative 1 and just plug it in. So negative 1 plus 3 is equal, so negative 1 plus 3 is equal to positive 2, okay? So that means we have a point at negative 1, comma, 2. So that's going to be to the left 1 and up 2. And this time we have a filled in circle because it says we use that when x is greater than or equal to negative 1, okay? Let's go ahead and plug in one more point. So moving to the right, let's use x is equal to 0. So 0 plus 3 is equal to 3. So that means we have a point at 0, comma 3. So 0 and then up 3 right there. And so our line there is looking something like that. And so this is what our piecewise function is going to look like, okay? When x is less than negative 1, it's going to look like this part over here, okay? And then it kind of jumps up whenever x is greater than or equal to negative 1 because now we're using x plus 3, okay? And then it continues that way. So I hope this video was helpful. If you want to see more like this, go ahead and follow this account, like this video, and leave a comment. That way my videos show up in your For You page later on. We'll see you next time.